Hi. So, how did I end up here? I'm Brian, software engineer at Flux, and this question has been bugging my mind for a while, all the way driving up here. FOSDEM. So this is how I got here. So we have a Toyota Corolla from 2021. It's quite a nice car. The roads, however, don't handle it that well. It's a bit bumpy at times, but that's Belgium. We're used to the bad roads. Stand-up comedy, not my thing, noted. No, I've had quite a bumpy ride in my career, if I'm quite honest. I tried out a lot of things, worked at quite a few companies given my age, and also quite a few varied things. Always in technology, always software, hardware development, firmware development. But I didn't stay there quite long, because I just didn't know what to do. It was always a weird thing, weird feelings, never really felt at home, never really felt like I was doing what I liked, if that makes sense. Nothing, yeah, I like doing nothing, like Chris always likes to say. But I recently started lecturing, and that's where the question came up. I also studied here myself, I studied electronics ICT, and that's where my hardware and firmware background comes from. But my students now, they always ask me that you have the first lecture, the second lecture, and by the third lecture, they've looked you up on LinkedIn and they know more about you than you do yourself. And they then ask, like, how did you end up where you currently are? How did you work for this American company? How did you work for this random company in Paris? How do you start open source, basically? My startings are in FreeRTOS and build routes. It's the things that teach me Linux, the things how I got started with it, right? These are my beginnings. It's fun. It was fun for quite a while, but I got frustrated with the tools as well quite quickly. And that's around the time as well that I learned about Nix and NixOS and the Nix community. And I must be honest, like, this is the first place that I've actually felt like it's worth to work for, right? To spend my free time in and just put effort in actually trying to improve. So I joined the Summer of Nix, and the next edition of the Summer of Nix, I actually helped produce some of the lecture series over there. It was great fun, met some great people and some people that I would consider good friends right now. And just like, it was weird. Nobody asked me to. I just was like, no, I want to do this. Looks cool. Then I helped co-organize NixCon Paris. It was all very chaotic, and I ended up hosting as well as doing the audio, so the audio was constantly feedbacking, because I also had to go fetch the speakers, and it was chaotic, but it was fun. That's what mattered to me. It was fun, it was great. Again, met some great people, some of which I still talk to on a daily basis, some of which are still my colleagues, and others that, sadly enough, I don't talk to as much as I'd like. But they helped me through the whole thing. There in the bottom right, that's me in like 3 hours of sleep. There's also Chris. Now, I worked for Chris, which was an interesting period and a fun time still. And I bothered Chris a shit ton with Nix and NixOS. To the point that Chris at a certain point just gave in and asked me, if I give you a track, can you please stop talking about this to me? So now I make sure that I give a talk about Nix every ConfigManagement Camp, so that I can still bother him with Nix. It's amazing, best feeling in the world. But it was quite lonely as well, to be completely fair. The first 2 times that the Nix track was a thing, it was just me talking. Most people also approached me for like, oh, you're the NixOS guy. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Makes sense. But it's a lonely world. Also, it felt pretty bad. You had the Nix track, you advertised it, but nobody showed up, nobody applied for talks. Right now, like this year, like, okay, I might have forced some of these people to give talks, full disclosure. But it's starting to take its own life, and that's great. FOSDEM as well. The Nix dev room was a joke. The Nix dev room was like, hey, we're going to apply for a dev room. Let's see what comes of it. Nobody expected to get accepted. And then we got 3 in a row, and every single time the room was too small. Just too many people. The first time we even got called a fire hazard, which was amazing. But all of this is just a community. It's literally just like going on the discourse, going on the forums and being like, hey, anybody want to help co-organize? Yes or no? People answered. People that I never talked to before, and again, now I consider close friends. This is the fire hazard that I was speaking of. Literally had to send people out of the room. It was fun, it was chaotic. The talks were 20 minutes long. Every speaker complained that they were too short. I'm sorry, I think it's cool. But it's community, and that's what I wanted to say, right? I got here not by myself. I got here by having connections, by talking with Chris, by annoying Chris to hell so that he will give me what I wanted. And also just by having fun, really. So what I recommend to my students always is to do what you think you enjoy what you do, right? And if you don't find something else that you enjoy, make friends. So that's how I ended up here. It's not alone. Thank you.